Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 906, Monday, September 23rd, 2019. Thank you so much for tuning in. Man, we got a really busy news day today, and we also have to name the dumbass of the week. So let's get right to it. Well, this morning, Devin Nunes was on, or I should say Sunday morning, Devin Nunes was on Maria Bartiromo. So I'm just going to go over a few of the tidbits, a few of the things that Nunes said on the show yesterday morning, and maybe just to analyze them just a bit. So Nunes told Bartiromo that the Biden scandal could and likely will sink Joe Biden's campaign. And he mentioned that, of course, Biden is now trailing Warren in Iowa. He's referring to the two polls we talked about the other day. And he said this very well could and probably will end Biden's campaign. He's talking about this Ukraine issue, and it's not just a Ukraine issue. It's Ukraine is just one of the issues. It's China is there was a much larger scandal and transfer of money, and it was much more obvious even than the Ukrainian one with his son Hunter Biden in China. And that's certainly, I mean, Peter Schweitzer lays that entire thing out in his book. He's been on Lou Dobbs. He's been on various other Fox stations where he lays out exactly what happened there in that China deal. And man, that's a smoking gun right there. It's worse than Ukraine. And then we have Papadopoulos telling us that Biden also was involved in some dirty dealings in Cyprus. And so, yeah, I agree. I think that this... Again, we're not 100% sure about this whistleblower and who was behind it and what the motive was. But as you look at it now, just as we talked about in the last two videos, it is clearly boomeranged back on Joe Biden, which makes you wonder, again, if this is something that came from somewhere else. I mean, this you could almost look at this and wonder if this was maybe Trump and a pro-Trump, somebody in the intel community is pro-Trump. Who put this together, because it's backfired that badly on Biden. And of course, if they want to really dig into it and dig into Giuliani and what he was doing in Ukraine, well, he was there because the Ukraine government wanted to give the Trump administration information about how the previous Ukraine government was involved with the Clinton campaign, the DNC, and the FBI in trying to meddle in the U.S. 2016 election on the side of Hillary, for Hillary and against Trump. So Biden and Clinton and the Democrats and of course the FBI, I mean everybody in this story takes a much bigger ding than Trump does. Trump really doesn't get dinged at all on this. He didn't do anything. He's clean, and all the attention here in the next couple of days will be away from Trump. He'll be cleared. I think he already has been. And it's going to be the focus on what this was all about. And it will be the Biden situation and, of course, the Ukrainians meddling in the 2016 election on behalf of the FBI, the Rotten Reverend Clinton, and the DNC. And I think that that's what's going to be lingering for the next few weeks to come. And we will see if it takes Biden out of the game. It very well could. It will all depend on whether or not the media tries to bury it or goes after him. I mean, if they give Biden a free pass and no one hits him on it in the next debate, and he doesn't have to go out and defend himself, he can probably survive it. But if he gets very much pushback at all on this, he is going to end up in some deep trouble, because Biden will absolutely incriminate himself. He already has. He's already said that he didn't talk to his son about his business dealings, and in fact we know that he did. In fact, he actually had a formal briefing. The State Department actually briefed Biden and said, hey, do you know what your son's doing and what's going on there? It really doesn't look very good, and just want you to know didn't know if you knew about that, but so he actually even got warned about it by the Obama administration State Department, telling him, hey, there could be a problem here. And then of course we have Hunter Biden saying that he discussed it with his father. And his father told him, okay, son, well, you better know what you're doing. So, there's a lot more to come in this little dinger here. So, we'll keep watching this story because I think it's got legs. Nunes also was talking about Sidney Powell, Michael Flynn's attorney, requesting these 302s on Mifsud, basically suggesting that Mifsud was likely at that RT dinner. Now, I'm a little confused on all this. Originally, a long time ago, it's on my timeline, it was reported that Stefan Halper was there. So I'm a little confused now if what they're saying now is that it wasn't Halper who was there, but it was Mifsud. Or maybe it was both. Maybe Mifsud and Halper were there. So there's still a lot that needs to be cleared up on this. But Nunes said that he believes that Sidney Powell could be correct, that Mifsud was there. And he said that it would be consistent with some of the other information that they have seen on his committee, the House Intelligence Committee. So he's suggesting that maybe he's not surprised to hear that Mifsud may have been there, that he has seen some information that would suggest possibly the same. He's also, Nunes is also saying that Huckleberry Horowitz, the FISA report, will produce more evidence that can be used by Durham to build a criminal case against the people who lied to the FISA court. And he said, of course, people must go to jail. And he went on to say that he already knows that there was FISA abuse. That's no question at all. And he says, he's read the FISA application. And he said there definitely was FISA abuse. He said the only thing is, does the Inspector General have anything more additionally to add to what they already know? But he said just from what they already know, there was definitely FISA abuse. And of course he says that this will eventually make its way over to Durham, and they'll build a criminal case based on the findings of Horowitz. So yes, that's my take on it, but of course we'll just have to wait and see. Bartiromo also, when they were talking about Mifsud, she basically told Nunes, she said, well, if we find out that Mifsud was working for some Western intelligence, then it essentially proves that they were trying to frame Trump. And Nunes said, yeah, that's basically it. If we find out that Mifsud, remember, he's key to all of this. If we find out that Mifsud was not as advertised, and we find out that he was in fact working for Western intelligence, that will tell us that they were definitely trying to frame Trump. Yeah. Nunes also pointed out that Biden's ties with Ukraine first came to light, and that they were brought out originally by the Hillary Clinton campaign in 2015 to make sure that Biden did not enter the race to challenge the rotten Reverend Clinton for the Democratic nomination in 2016. You know what? He's absolutely right, and I completely forgot because it didn't get a lot of big headlines, but I do remember back in 2015 when everybody was talking about what Democrats were going to get in, everybody knew that the rotten Reverend Clinton was already essentially going to run. And of course Bernie was someone that we pretty much knew he would run. There were other names being floated out there, including Biden. And then there was this talk, these sort of leaked stories about maybe Biden having issues with his dealings in China with his kid and other places, and it appeared that was enough to scare Biden out of the race, out of throwing his hat in the ring. My guess is he was told, hey, this is coming from the Clinton campaign, and they've got more, and if you jump in and you try to challenge Hillary and take her, what she believes is her, her nomination, then she's got more, and they'll drop more, and they'll make it very tough for you. So essentially, this is exactly what I remember the talk back then. I'd forgotten it, but now that Nunes brings it up, it sort of jogged my memory, and this is absolutely true. Back at that time, Biden was considering running in 2016, and it was this sort of leaked stories about his dealings and with his kid and his dealings in Ukraine and maybe China, other places, is what a lot of people believe got him to back out of it and not challenge Hillary in 2016, which leads me to believe that it's not that far of a stretch to suggest that this so-called whistleblower thing that's going on that really hurts Biden more than anybody is coming out of the Clinton camp. Now, obviously, she's got issues here too in Ukraine, but the Right Reverend Clinton doesn't care. As far as the Right Reverend Clinton is concerned, any scandal that involves her she's above it. She doesn't have to worry. In her mind, she's got the media on her side, she's got the establishment on her side, and they will protect her. She doesn't have to worry about that. And so I think, in fact, that the Right Reverend Clinton, she could be indicted, she could be sitting in jail, and she would still run in 2020. And if she loses, she'll run in 2024 from the pen. Wouldn't faze her at all. That's exactly how she is. And I was a little surprised at this, but Nunes says he would like to hear from the whistleblower. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to hear from the whistleblower too. I'd like to know who this is and where they got this information. We all obviously know now that they didn't get it directly. They didn't see anything or hear anything or read anything or anything like that, that they got it from another person who did. So that throws up a lot of red flags now. But I guess the issue is I think it sets a bad precedent when you can use pressure in the Congress to force presidents to disclose conversations they have with foreign leaders. And the problem is that what foreign leader wants to then have a serious discussion with an American president, knowing good and well that their conversation could be leaked or become public in the Congress for some reason. I mean, foreign leaders will not want to deal directly with the president, will be very careful about what they say, may withhold things they would like to say. It'll make it hard for the president. Sometimes world leaders need to be blunt with each other, and this will prevent that from happening. The president needs to have that kind of leeway, and this would threaten that. So that's why I would be opposed to this idea. Even though I'm as curious as anyone else, I just think it sets a bad precedent. Lindsey Graham. He was also on Maria Bartiromo on Sunday morning, and he said that he wants the DOJ to probe the Biden family. Yeah, well, maybe. We'll see how that goes. The fact is that we're learning from this whole whistleblower thing that there had been multiple attempts by the Ukrainian government, including the new president, including the previous president, Poroshenko, to try to get information to the American government about what was going on there. And we had the ambassador block it. Then they sent the stuff to the State Department. They sat on it. Finally, the Ukrainian government, this new president, actually hired a private lawyer in the United States, in New York, to go to the Department of Justice and give them the information. And only then did it make its way into the State Department, and that's when they contacted Giuliani and asked him to go on a fact-finding mission. So, yeah, the thing is, while William Barr may be the Attorney General, the DOJ, for the most part, is still the same bureaucrats that were there all through 2016 and have been there for years. It's the same deep state swamp dwellers. And I just don't have any confidence in these people whatsoever. So for Lindsey Graham to suggest that he'd be happy to have the DOJ look into the Biden family, good luck with that. The DOJ, the deep state hacks in the DOJ are going to do nothing but protect Biden. They're certainly not going to seriously go after him. I assure you of that. Now we have a new name that's just popped up today, or yesterday popped up, and some of you may be familiar with this guy. I think I've heard his name before, but I can't remember. I don't think I've covered him. He's not in my TowerGate timeline. Well, at least not yet. He's about to be. But this guy here is Father Alex Karloutsos, Karloutsos. Basically Carl out SOS. Karloutsos. So this guy is a father. He's obviously a Catholic priest, and it appears that he's very connected to deep state Republicans and Democrats. Specifically, he's very connected to Obama, the Right Reverend Clinton. He's also connected to Reince Priebus and Ed Royce. Now, Karloutsos is head of the Department of Public Affairs for the Greek Archdiocese of America. The head of Public Affairs for the Greek Archdiocese of America. Now, it appears that he connected with Papadopoulos right after the election, December of 2016, and he talked Papadopoulos into traveling with him to Cyprus to meet with some politicians there. And Karlatzis had promised to help Papadopoulos with his career. Same thing Mifsud was supposed to do. So he's also the person that apparently that hooked up Papadopoulos with Priebus. Now, that's what's being reported here, but I don't think that that's true, because this is after the election. Papadopoulos had talked to and was known by and had worked in the campaign back in the previous months, and certainly Priebus would have been aware of Papadopoulos, would have known about him and spoke to him prior. So I don't think that Karlatzis is the one who hooked up Papadopoulos with Priebus, unless that occurred months and months before. Now, if that occurred months and months before, back in the spring of 2016 or early spring of 2016, then that makes sense. But to suggest that it was after the election, that would not make sense. So if this is true, then we would have to assume that they mean that this Father Karlatzis hooked up Papadopoulos back in the spring of 2016. And we should note that Cyprus has a very substantial Russian presence. Russian military has some naval operations there, I believe. And of course, Oleg Deripaska is a citizen of both Russia and Cyprus. So here's a new character, and it'll be interesting to hear what Papadopoulos has to say to elaborate on this. We have a former Ukrainian Secret Service official is now claiming that Ukraine funded the Clinton campaign with stolen IMF money. Stolen money from the International Monetary Fund. Let me say that again. A former Ukrainian Secret Service official is claiming that Ukraine funded the Clinton campaign with stolen IMF money. And of course, he lays out the details. He includes a flow chart which follows the money. He says this was done by the Clinton friends in Ukraine. That would have been Poroshenko and Viktor Pinchuk. And of course, we've all heard the name Viktor Pinchuk. He is the single largest donor to the Clinton Foundation. Now, this guy, this former Ukrainian Secret Service official, has fled to the Ukraine for exposing a lot of this stuff, and I assume he's now in Russia. And of course, he fled in 2018 because I guess he was feeling threatened because he was exposing the truth about the Clinton-Poroshenko corruption. He says that panic gripped the power structures in Ukraine after Trump's victory. They were expecting retaliation from Trump after the Trump administration would discover the corruption that was happening in Ukraine and being used against him. And again, he says that Ukraine officials provided dirt on Manafort and Trump for Hillary at the request of the Hillary Clinton campaign, and also that they diverted money from the IMF to the Right Reverend Clinton's campaign. We have Ocasio-Cortez. She's angry because the House Democrats refused to impeach Trump, and she says it's a bigger scandal than Trump's law-breaking behavior. It's a bigger scandal that the Democrats won't impeach Trump than it is Trump's crimes. Man, she's out of her mind. And I'm glad she's out there, though. I mean, again, I've said this 1,000 times. I'll say it again. When you look at this, I would almost be convinced that AOC is a Republican plant. If you wanted to divide and destroy the Democratic Party, conquer and divide the Democratic Party, you would put in someone like an AOC to do exactly what she's doing, because that's exactly what she's doing. She's ripping that party apart, man, and it's great. Well, we have the bug-eyed fool Adam Schiff telling Jake Crapper that he may defund the intel community. If he don't get the whistleblower, if he doesn't get the whistleblower in the transcript, he's going to defund the intel community. Oh, I don't know about that, bug-eyed fool. Remember, they got 6 ways from Sunday getting back at you. And Mr. Schiff, the pencil neck geek, the bug-eyed fool, is a target-rich environment. Believe me. I believe he was a good friend of, what's his name? Buck. Ed Buck. Did you see the video of Kamala Legs in the Air Harris dancing? It was very, very cringy. Do not watch it if you haven't seen it already. You know, looking at this whole thing as it's playing itself out with this so-called whistleblower and how it's backfiring on, certainly on Biden right now, and eventually will backfire on Clinton as well. You almost have to wonder if this is like a Trump plot. Is Trump setting up Biden? You know, when I saw Biden responding and saying, yes, we need Trump to release the transcript, the first thought in my mind is, God, that's a stupid thing to say. That's a really stupid thing to say. Because ultimately, Trump releases the transcript. It's already been noted by various people who've looked at it that there's nothing, Trump did nothing wrong. So the only thing that would really be learned is that they're talking about investigating this corruption that was going on in Ukraine between Biden, his son, and these corrupt Ukrainian officials. Why would Biden want a transcript of that conversation coming out? It's insane. This is why I say, maybe, I'm just joking here, maybe this is a plot by Trump. He plants this whistleblower, has somebody go in and do this so-called whistleblower story to get the story out there, because the media certainly won't cover it. Well, this will certainly get the media on it. And then they sit there and go, release the transcript, release the transcript. And Trump can sit back and go, no, 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 we're not going to release the transcript. We're not going to do that. And he could sit back and do that for a week or two until it gets to a feverish pitch and the Democrats are threatening impeachment and threatening all kinds of stuff. And then he says, okay, I'll release the damn thing. Then you release it. And it, of course, totally exonerates Trump. There's nothing there. But what it does do is expose the massive corruption going on in Ukraine with the rotten Reverend Clinton campaign and Joe Biden and Ukraine and all the rest. Now that would be a classic Trump play. Who knows? Anything is possible with this situation, my friends. So hell, I don't know what's going on, but I do know that just as I said on day one after the scandal broke, I said this is maybe going to give the media 24 to 48 hours of the ability to jump all over Trump, but it doesn't matter. They don't need anything. They do it every day anyway. It doesn't even matter anymore. Most people ignore it now. But the thing that will ultimately linger and remain will be the questions about Biden, Ukraine, Hillary, the Democrats, and Ukraine. I mean, that's what's going to be. That's where there's actually something there. That's where questions and further investigation will happen. So you got to wonder about these people, man. Alrighty, we don't have much time. Let's go ahead and get through the voting for Dumbass of the Week. We have Mrs. Miggins. Mrs. Miggins, her first vote was for anyone who believes Greta Thunberg is going to save the planet. Absolutely correct. Or anyone who believes, her number 2 pick, anyone who believes that the Democrats in California did not know about Ed Buck. Good friend of both the Right Reverend Clinton, big donor for the Reverend, as well as Adam the Bug-Eyed Fool Schiff. Very well done, Mrs. Miggins. You're right on both points. Freddie Schaffer, he's going with Nadler, Schiff, and Biden. Sherman is going to go with Biden. The media for jumping on the Ukraine story. Very well done. Mike G, he's going to go with Biden. That's a solid choice. Linda Martin, she's going with the fake news, who did quite well this week, by the way. They didn't win, but the fake news did quite well this week. So, Linda Martin going with fake news, Schiff, and the Penguin. Patty Willing. Patty Willing's going to go with Biden, Nadler, and Schiff. Man, that's like the solid 3 right there. Joey D, he's going to go with Corn Pop for leaving that day. Well done, Joey D. Corn Pop for leaving that day. Oh, man. And also for the Trudeau for his apology. His multiple apologies. I forget how many apologies he's given now, like 9 or 10. And he's going to go as the third pick is going to be the Penguin. Walker on the Hill is going to go with Sleepy Joe, Nadler, and the MSM. Yes, that's right. They're doing quite well. Media Speaks is going to go with the Bug-Eyed Fool. That'd be Adam Schiff, Biden, and the Whistleblower. Jonathan Cassidy, he's going to go with Crazy Uncle Joe, the Rotten Reverend, and Madam Botox, Nancy Pelosi. Lori Holt, she's going to go with Crazy Uncle Joe Biden, the Penguin, and the Bug-Eyed Fool, Adam Schiff. Iowa Russian Stormy Bot is going to go with Sleepy Joe. Beto, the skateboarder. Yeah, he also had a very interesting week. Got a flat tire and then he got stuck in the mud in his minivan. And he puts it on YouTube. I mean, it's not a good idea. And finally, for Iowa Russian Stormy Bot, the Penguin. Peter James, our friend in the Great Northwest. And hey, Peter, some people are talking that the Republicans might have a shot at taking Washington State in 2020. I know they're putting resources in there, and Trump may even go there. So you may have some good news coming there, Peter. And by the way, Peter is going to go, Dumbass of the Week for him. He's going to go with the Penguin, the media for their climate change hoax programming that they've been doing for the last week or so. And, of course, with those teachers and liars that were behind these kids going on strike all over the damn planet for climate change, which is a gigantic hoax. Very well done, Peter James. Ed Lauder. Ed's going to go with Biden. That's a solid choice. He didn't even need a second or third. He's all in for Biden. Net. He's also all in for Biden. Linda Thomas. Linda's going to go with the Penguin, Jerry Nadler, the Bug-Eyed Fool, Adam Schiff, and Crazy Uncle Joe. Jamie is going to go with Clinton, the Rotten Reverend. She's on the board, along with the Bug-Eyed Fool and Biden. Dennis Waddell, he likes Fredo. I assume he's referring to the interview with Giuliani, that was quite funny. I have to say, well done, Dennis Waddell. Rose, good old Rose. Good to hear from Rose again. Rose is going to go with Nadler, the Penguin, the Bug-Eyed Fool, Adam Schiff, and the Fake News. I told you, the fake news, the media is, I think they got like 9 or 10 votes this week. Rocky is going to go with the media. There we go. They just keep on coming. Douglas, he wants to make sure his vote is counted. And he went with Toobin. And I assume he's talking about Jeffrey Toobin, the legal analyst over there on, I think, MSNBC or CNN, one of the two. Yeah, I thought that I saw what you're talking about, Douglas. I did see Jeffrey Toobin trying to explain, I think, what it was he was trying to explain. I forget now, because it was about a week ago, actually, I saw it. But I know what you're talking about, Douglas. I know the comment that you're referring to. Yeah, it was pitiful. It was absolutely... Oh, he was defending McCabe, I believe. He was defending McCabe after the report came out on McCabe. And it was hilarious watching Jeffrey Toobin. Well, these types of things, a little leak here, no big deal. That happens all the time. It's not a big deal. The lying, the 4 times lying under oath. That's not a big deal. Yeah, that was pretty funny to watch, Douglas. Well done, Jeffrey Toobin. Fern, she's going to go with Antonio Brown. Well, yeah, we don't get many sports figures that get tossed into the mix here. But if you're going to talk about dumbasses of the week, you certainly would put Antonio Brown high on the list there. I mean, the guy's got a great contract with the Steelers. He F's that up. He gets the Raiders to take him on. And believe me, if the Raiders take you on, it's pretty much last resort. That means that you obviously got a lot of problems. But the Raiders will take you. So the Raiders take him on. And he literally goes out and calls out the owner. He shows up late for practice. He badmouths coaches. I mean, this guy's just got attitude problem that you would not believe. Tremendous talent. That's the thing about it. He's a fantastic football player. But God, his attitude sucks so bad. So then the Raiders that cut him, he ends up in New England. He's on the Patriots. Now you think once you get on the Patriots, you shut the hell up. Because now you can win a Super Bowl. They're going to win again this year. Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl again this year. They're blowing everybody out. First week they blew out Pittsburgh. Only gave up 3 points. The second week they blew out Miami. I think the Patriots in 3 weeks, their defense has given up, what, a total of like 16 points or something? They've scored 150. I think this may be the best Patriots team I've seen. And that's saying something. So Antonio Brown gets hooked up with the Patriots, and now he gets 2 more sexual assault charges leveled against him, and they're like, you're out of here. So, I mean, I don't know what to say. And now he said, well, I'm probably going to retire from the NFL. Well, I know he made a hell of a lot of money. He didn't play in the NFL very long, but I'm sure he made a lot of money. But he's going to have to invest that money because it won't last him the rest of his life, living the lifestyle that he's used to living. He'll have to drastically change his lifestyle. But I kind of doubt that he'll be out of it forever unless one of these charges stick and he ends up getting charged and having to serve jail time, and that would obviously do it. But, you know, a player that good, it's unfortunate, but if he beats these criminal charges, I assume he'll be done for this year, but if he beats these criminal charges next year, someone will pay him. So thank you very much, Fern. Well done, Antonio Brown. Suzong, gonna go with Trudeau. Are you from Canada? Trudeau, yeah, he has definitely made a fool of himself, and I think he's cost himself his re-election. I can't imagine. I mean, yeah, we're talking about the black face, the brown face, the purple, whatever, you know, all the various faces. We have no idea how much more of this stuff they're going to find. These apologies are just ridiculous. But really, I mean, this is like the stuff. Remember, he's caught up in this scandal that's actually about something real. You know, he fired his attorney general because she didn't want to lay off charging or going after this corrupt company that's a big donor to Trudeau and his party. So, you know, that scandal is probably a lot more important to him than the blackface stuff. But, you know, Canada's not doing real well. Their economy's not doing real well. I don't know who his opponent is, but whoever it is, if they're even halfway decent, Trudeau will be defeated. And the election here in Canada is coming up, I think, October the 21st, I think. Or the middle of October, sometime around there. So, anyway, yeah, I think that may be curtains for him anyway. Jeanette is going with Crazy Uncle Joe, the bug-eyed fool Adam Schiff, and the fake news. They're doing quite well this week. Susan is going to go with the mainstream media. I told you, they're kicking butt this week. Hard to believe they didn't win. It's just that Biden and the others did so well. Thomas is going to go with Biden. Lee is going to go with Biden, Schiff, and the Penguin. Mona Lisa, she's going with Creepy Joe. Larry, he's going with Trey Gowdy. Yeah, I kind of know where you're coming from there, Larry. I watched a couple of those interviews, and they're maddening. They're maddening. I mean, just maddening. And that purple tie is just messing with me. And he's got the rooster haircut going. I don't know, man. Never was a fan of Gowdy. I don't hate the guy or anything, but just something about him. I just, you know, not a big fan. Rocker Mom, gonna go with Sleepy Joe, the Bug-Eyed Fool, and Hunter Biden. Oregon Outback is gonna go with the other small group. That would be the Rotten Reverend Clinton, the Deep State, and the corporate media. You better believe it. You better believe it. So, really, close competition for first and second this week, and even third. Joe Biden ends up winning, but in a very close competition. He comes in first place, Crazy Uncle Joe, but Adam Schiff, the bug-eyed fool, only came up 1 vote short of tying Biden. Only 1 vote short of tying Biden. Biden had 5, 10, 15, 18, had 18 votes, and Schiff had 17. Very close. Nadler comes in third, and he had 13 votes. And so you have Biden winning, Schiff coming in second place, just tying Biden by 1 vote, Nadler coming in third, and media ended up with 11 votes this week and coming in a pretty decent fourth. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with more TowerGate. See you then. Bye.